What's up guys, it's the Carp here, back with another video, and today I'm on FIFA, but I'm going to be doing a sort of more podcast type thing. I'm going to be talking about VAR today, um, and this is mainly triggered, because I want to just, do a little bit more videos like this, where I kind of discuss things, we'll kind of see how you guys like it, and if I feel like doing more, I might just do more regardless. But anyways, Real Madrid played yesterday. We beat Real Sociedad 2-1. I'm gonna open this pack real quick in FIFA, and then we will just get into a game. Let's see, what can we get to start off the video? I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea how really the pack animations work at this point. I know it's a board at this point though. Italy, goalkeeper, probably trash. Torino, yeah. Okay, fantastic. Alright, so we start off with Sirigu. Quality player. I believe it's untradeable. This was from, the amount of times I've logged in this year. Not as much as previous years. Kind of fallen off with FIFA, but I've got a really good squad in here. I'll go through it before I start rambling. But this is actually the first time I've done a live FIFA video in a while. I did that top 5 goals of the week thing. Go check that out if you haven't. It was a decent video, if I do say so myself. There was a couple good goals in there. A couple of them, I'll be honest, I was kind of just scraping for some decent goals to throw in there. I do want to check out these SBCs real quick as well. 84-18. That's not bad. I'm not going to do this right now because it's going to require a little more thinking, but I might look into these actually. Those look pretty decent. I think they go up 3 in stats as well. If you complete them, or not if you complete them, if their team wins. But anyways, let's get cute into a match here, and then get into the VAR discussion. So, let's go over the team first. So this is my team, pretty decent team. Most of these players are untradeable. In fact, every player in this team is untradeable. The bench is a few I bought, but like Pogba I packed. That guy I packed from an SBC. That was a season objective. Loan players, packed all these guys. I did a baby icon pack and got Hulit, so that was fucking incredible. He's pretty good, pretty solid player. Doesn't get a lot of goals or assists, but he is a tank in there. Team's fully fit. Hopefully my customs tactics still do all right. I don't even know what I do at this point. I just put it on attacking. I forget what my players actually move to. But let's get into the game. So, Real Madrid versus Real Sociedad. Now, I do have a little bit of bias in this discussion. Obviously, if you guys have seen any of my videos, I am a Real Madrid fan. But, I also have played soccer my whole life. I've coached soccer. I've refereed soccer for a few years. So I do know what I'm talking about. And I can see things from an unbiased point of view as well. Although, there is going to be some there regardless. So Real Madrid won 2-1 in Sociedad. It was really filled with controversy. It was a very tight game. Teams really just feeling each other out for the first, full half, and then a bit in the second half. Jesus Christ. Okay. I mean, I guess that's what you should expect at this stage in FIFA, but fucking hell. Alright, this one should be fun. Hopefully I just don't get thrashed here while I'm also talking. But anyway, so it was a very tight game up until I've turned commentary off as well, so it doesn't, kind of interfere with what I'm saying. But you can still hear the ball getting kicked and the fans. But yeah, Real Sociedad actually scored the first goal of the game. It was disallowed though for an offsides. It was a shot from the substitute Januzaj, former not Real Madrid player, former Manchester United player. Oh, get in there! Damn it. But, yeah, he took a shot from outside the box. It was a very well-placed left-footed shot, bottom corner. Courtois couldn't get to it. But Real Sociedad did have a player standing about 2 yards offsides in front of Courtois. And the decision was actually made very quickly, which would kind of, make it seem like there shouldn't be any controversy there. But it is kind of, the decision there is, he was obviously offsides, but he didn't touch the ball. You don't have to touch the ball to interfere with play, but that is the question. Did he interfere with the play? And I'm kind of 50-50 on this one. I do think they probably got it right, but again, that could be that slight bias. If it happened the other way, I mean, I could understand it happening, if it was against Real Madrid too. I'd probably be a little more pissed off. But, he was obstructing Courtois' view. Close. He was obstructing Courtois' view. Courtois even did, have a little look over, the player that was in the offside position, looking to see what's happening. So that is kind of like a telltale sign there that, yeah, he was interfering with the play. But it is iffy. If I pause for a second, it's because I'm trying to concentrate. I do want to win this game, obviously. I am competitive, even if I'm just on here rambling. And FIFA doesn't really matter at this point. I still want to get them W's. Fuck, that's not how you do it. He's gonna score here. Maybe. He's playing with it. God damn it. That's why I don't play FIFA anymore. That's just not a good goal. And look at that. He's paused for me to quit. This game is so fucking cancerous. Every time I get on here, I swear. Whatever. Not the point of this video. But anyway, so that first goal that was disallowed by Sociedad, I'm 50-50 on that one. I'm leaning. I mean, I'm 60-40 actually. I think 60% of me thinks it should have been disallowed, and that was the decision at the end of the day. So let's move on past that. Regardless, it was correct for them to at the very least check the decision, and they did so. They decided it was offsides. But then Real Madrid bombing forward. Vinicius Jr. gets past a couple players, and he gets fouled. At least that's what the VAR says. Now, what happened was, it seemed like an opposition player had just barely nicked Vinicius's foot, his right foot, right before shooting his shot. And he kind of fluffed the shot. So the question there is, if he made contact, so yeah, that's the main question. Now, I think if he made contact, it does make sense. In that position, that's clearly, you're clearly obstructing. God damn it, I hate this game sometimes. Fuck me, that is such a shit goal, too. Anyways, should have been doing this, on Football Manager or something. But, oh well. So yeah, the question is, did he touch Vinicius? Because at that point, Vinicius is trying to shoot. He, gets none of the ball and just gets a touch on Vinicius, messes up his shot, which, doesn't go in the back of the net because of it, potentially because of it. So yeah, that's a penalty. But upon looking at it, I'm really not sure if there was actually contact. It kind of just looked, and it even looked like at the time, really, that Vinicius had just kind of tripped up. So this one, I'm actually on the side of the Real Madrid haters that you see everywhere as soon as a VAR decision is made for them. But I am on their side this time around. I do think that one probably wasn't correct. So yeah, that's 1-1 there. I think the first decision was probably correct. The second one, it was very, very soft. In fact, earlier in the game, Marcelo kind of had a touch on him before he was shooting, and I think that was actually more a penalty. But even that would have been kind of a light penalty, and I think it was Ray Hudson. Phil Shane, maybe, is the other commentator. I forget what his name is, the second guy. Ray Hudson, obviously, though. Legend. Love his commentary. He's a god. But he even said it would be a very light penalty had it been given. But then, later in the game, when it's Vinicius, that one is actually given. So yeah, I think it's very light. Either one would have been, but even, the Marcelo one was more of a penalty than Vinicius's. So I can understand the rage there. So it's not done, though, in this game. So then Real Madrid score a second goal, courtesy of Karim Benzema. He chests the ball down, puts it in. It's a tidy finish. Gets past two defenders and the goalkeeper. But he borderline touches the ball with his arm. So I do think it was his chest on this one. This, again, could be slight bias, but he had his arm out, and that's the problem, is that when you have your arm out and it touches that position, it is a lot more, controversial. But if you're trying, so if the ball is crossed to you and you try to shoulder it, move your shoulder forward, you can like your right shoulder, say, you can move it forward, backwards. You move it forward, when the ball comes to you to hit the ball. So you shoulder it into the goal. You guys can't see me right now, but I'm making the motion for some reason. But if you do that, the rest of your arm is down to your side, almost always, and it is the correct decision. That's not a handball. But it seemed like, oh shit, that's what Benzema did. But the problem is that his arm was out, and it's a very gray area there. Even for like offsides, that area, like where is playable and where is not. Now, I think I understand this one though, whether it's right or wrong. In this case, I think the reason that it wasn't pulled back for a handball is because VAR is only supposed to be used. I believe the wording. I could not be entirely right on this, but I believe the wording is a clear and obvious error by the referee is when VAR is used. So first off, it's only used, for penalty decisions, for like a red card that's either, should be given or should be rescinded. For if an offside's before a goal or, whatever. But a clear and obvious decision. So, since it's not clear and obvious that it was a handball, I believe that is why. I'm just going to drive this one and hope for the best. It's probably going to hit my player. Shit, it did. That was probably going in. Oh, damn it. But anyways, I think that's probably why the decision was not given as a handball. So, I kind of agree with that. And also, it is very vague. It's kind of like the offsides rule semantics. Like, the offsides rule was originally invented to prevent, goal hanging, to prevent cherry picking, to prevent players from sitting like 20 yards offside for the whole game, 30 yards offsides, whatever. And then, it's kind of been, just bastardized into, like, if you're a millimeter offsides when the ball is left the player's foot, then you're offsides. So it's kind of the same semantics. The reason handballs are illegal is, so that you don't control the ball with your arm or, like, hand the ball into the goal or whatever. Benzema was, clearly, obviously he was trying to use his chest there. I don't believe Benzema had the intent to handball it. And again, it wasn't clear and obvious, so I do think this was the correct decision. So at this point, we are at 1-0 Real Madrid, if the decisions are correct as I see them, and as some people see them. But there is some discussion there. Some people are always just as soon as Real Madrid gets a decision form in VAR, it doesn't matter what it is. They're like, oh fucking, they're giving Real Madrid the league. I was trying to think of a Barcelona, but for Real Madrid. I couldn't think of anything. But, yeah, normally that's what people are like, but some people, Jesus Christ, I am getting thrashed here. He's shushing me. I'm not leaving the match. It's not happening, you bitch. I don't leave games when I'm streaming. But, anyways, so yeah, regardless, I think should be 1-0 at this point. Now, here's where the problem lies. If it ends 2-0, there's a lot less discussion for this. But Real Sociedad got themselves one back. Now, unfortunately, I did have plans. I missed the last, 10, 15 minutes of the game. So Sociedad did score, I think, in the 82nd minute to make it 2-1. Because, obviously both goals were given in real life. That's how it panned out. Where, more than likely it should have been 1-0 at that point. Of course, goals change the course of the match and all that. But regardless, that really makes it, a little sketchy, because if VAR did its job properly, Real Sociedad would have either drawn that game or maybe even potentially won that game 1-0. He's going to score here. Oh, thank fuck. Probably should have put that one away, to be fair. But yeah, so that's where the problem lies here. And this is actually the second week in a row that Real Madrid have had a little bit of VAR controversy. But yeah, they played Valencia last week, and there was a very tight call again, and it was also the first goal of the game, which, the first goal of the game is really a big one. Any goals in the match, though, can affect it. It's kind of like that, like the reason, really, probably that VAR got pushed along as far as it did and, is now being implemented, is because that famous match between England and Germany, I want to say it was maybe 4-2 to Germany at the time. I don't remember it exactly, but regardless, Germany was winning, I think, by 2 goals. And Lampard hit that shot off the post, off the bar, and it very clearly crossed the line off of it. But there was no VAR at that point, so it didn't matter. It was just straight up, no goal, play on. And England didn't get the momentum from scoring that goal. They got knocked out, and that changed history. But it's like that. In this case, Real Madrid. Valencia's a tough team. Valencia would have scored the first goal of the game. Oh, so close there. And yeah, it would have given them a huge advantage had they scored the first goal of the game. But it was given as offsides. Now, the player was 100% offsides. I don't remember who it was that was the one that got called for offsides. But he was clearly in an offsides position. No one should be arguing that. I don't know if they are. But I have seen people complain about the goal in general being disallowed. It was clearly offsides. He was in an offsides position at least. The question at this point is, did he touch the ball? That's the only thing to really look at. And again, the same as the Vinicius thing. I'm not really sure if he did. And that kind of leads me to my next point, which is how do you make VAR better? Because I do think VAR is good for the game. I don't have the stats on me, but so referees are like graded on their performances in games. Just like players get ratings, referees get their decisions looked at, and there's like a percentage of correct calls that referees make, and that percentage of correct calls has gone up significantly. It's not a coincidence. It is 100% because of VAR. How the fuck has he put that in off of that? Whatever. I'm just rambling. It doesn't matter. This is just the background, something to look at. It's fine. This is my first game of FIFA in like a month. I don't feel too bad. I feel a little bad. It's 6-0. But anyways, what was I talking about? What was I talking about? I mean, VAR, obviously. But where was I at? Oh, right. So yeah, their referees are graded on their performances. The performances have gone up since VAR. It's undisputable. VAR has improved. So that alone, it makes me pro VAR. No matter how long it takes to make the decisions, if matches were 20 minutes longer because of these decisions, I would still be okay with it because he's gonna score that. How has he scored that? My player was right there in front of him. Whatever. But yeah, so that alone makes me pro VAR. So that's my stance. Now, ideally, you don't want to add 10, 15, 20 minutes to a game looking at decisions. So one of the things that does need improved is... Okay, the audio is back. I lost the audio there for a second. I don't know how long it was. I'll have to watch that back. But anyways, yeah, I got thrashed that first game. I'm going to just hop into a second one here. Hopefully I can do a little better. This is my second game of FIFA in a month, so hopefully I'll improve a little bit. I don't know where I was when the audio cut off. I just noticed it a minute ago. But I'm just going to jump in at where I think VAR can be improved. And I'll kind of cut the points that I've already made short in case I have already made them. Although I guess for the YouTube video I could always edit that out, but I am also streaming this on Twitch. But anyways, the first thing that I think they need to do in VAR is that the referee should be required, because he's not in most leagues anyways. Obviously VAR does vary kind of league to league, but in general the referee isn't required to go look at an incident on the screen. He could just be advised from the comm in his ear, like, this is the decision, whatever. You can look at it if you want. I think the referee should be required to go look, because the first problem with VAR really is the speed of the game. It could add 20 minutes to the game. So I think they should require the referee to go to that screen. His fitness level, her fitness level. Obviously there are female referees as well. Their fitness level is very good. A lot of referees will run as much as a player does in a match, or more even on certain occasions. So them running over to the screen every time is not going to be an issue. So as soon as a check is initiated, the ref runs over the screen. He looks at it simultaneously with the video review team, who is obviously still there, still advising, and contributing to the referee's decision. So that should eliminate some of the time. The second part of that, and I didn't actually mention this the first time, is that the referee should be able to look at multiple angles. I don't know if this is actually the case, but I think it was the Euros maybe. The referees were only actually supposed to look at it at full speed. I'm not sure if it was from one angle, if it was from an angle, but they were supposed to look at it at full speed. That doesn't make any sense. You already saw it once in a lifetime. Referees should be able to look at as many angles as they want. They should be able to put it in slow-mo. Referees should be trained on how to, deal with the interface. It shouldn't be that difficult to sort of work with. That's kind of a design thing, though, how they want to make the computers, how it works. But the referee should be able to look at whatever angles they want in slow-mo, speed it up to the point, whatever. So that, I think, should help a little bit with sort of the time issue. This one thing that has been suggested, which I do not agree with, is potentially adding like a three check system or something along those lines, to where a manager can check sort of whenever he wants. He can say like, hey, I want that VAR checked, and he can do that 3 times a game. I don't like that at all. Obviously, it is more akin to sort of the NFL, which does do video reviewing a lot more efficiently than European football, than soccer. But I don't feel like that should be a thing. Because in a match there could be 5, 6, up to like 10 or more even, like VAR checks that should be looked at. Penalty calls, red card calls, whatever. There could well be much more than 3 of those decisions that need checked. And at that point, you're using it for the first 3 or whatever. Maybe not even the first 3 potentially, depending on when you use them. And then the rest of the game, you're shit out of luck. So I don't like it because of that. The second reason I don't like it is because it could be used. Ooh, good save. Oblak has been a beast this game. But it could be used sort of to the manager's advantage. It could be used as a tool, which I don't think that should be what VAR is. I don't think so. Like even how some managers will use substitutes strategically, like towards the end of the game, to kind of kill time. Even that time should be added, it isn't always. And I don't even agree with that for subs. I don't think it should be made like that for VAR. Ah, shit. But yeah, so I don't think that's a good idea. It might help, but I think there's better things they can do. Not just that I can think of, but there's a whole host of people that can suggest things in FIFA that could help with this. I'm sure there's better ideas out there. Even just other than the ones that I'm, discussing today. But yeah, so one other got the foul there. One other suggestion that I would have is, what was it? I lost my train of thought. It'll come back to me. Let's just focus on the game for a second here. Let's try and get a goal. It is difficult talking while playing. This is the first time I've really done so like this. So it takes a little getting used to. Oh, could you imagine if I'd... Oh, it's not offside. There we go. I scored as soon as I stopped rambling and actually played. That's why I lost the last game 8-0. It's not because I'm not amazing at FIFA. All right, so now that I'm done focusing, what was I thinking about? I had it in my head. I should have wrote it down. I might come back to it. Anyways, though, so now I'm gonna get to sort of the negatives. So why are people anti-VAR? I'm not gonna go into all the things that makes VAR good necessarily at this point. I've kind of sprinkled that throughout what I've talked about so far, but specifically, what are people complaining about VAR? Why do people want VAR removed? Now, first off, I think it's important to note that VAR is very, very young. VAR has not been around for long. I think it was the Euros that was potentially the first time it was actually started being widely adopted. Potentially the Australian League or something started it off. But VAR, it's not very old at all. It's not been around for even 5 years. So there's still a whole lot of time to improve. We're still going through VAR's infancy. And they can change things. Obviously, they implemented VAR. They can now adjust and make changes accordingly. However they want to make it more fair. So, oh, I remember what the other thing is. The other thing with VAR is I think results should be able to be changed, and this is very iffy. I know it sounds iffy just coming out of my mouth, but results should be able to changed post-match. Now, another VAR incident recently is what kind of makes me think this way, or makes me think that this would be a good idea, and it is Sheffield United against whichever team they played. I don't remember who it was, but there was a goal in that game that wasn't given, and this is actually more of a goal line technology thing, but the ball was so clearly across the line. There is no way you can tell me that it wasn't. Everyone that's looked at it knows that was a goal. It's absolutely, unequivocally, 100% a goal. But, God save again, it wasn't given. And the match ended 0-0, and Sheffield United were vying legitimately for a Champions League spot. Not quite a Leicester story, but up there, close to being one. Now, especially if you consider the fact that Man City, even though things could be changed, with Man City having their lawyers go to work and stuff like this, but currently Man City are set to miss the Champions League for the next 2 years. Now, almost certainly, regardless, they will be missing at least next season's Champions League. Now, with that, that would mean that the top 5 teams, in other words, the top 4, not including Manchester City, would qualify for the Champions League. So Sheffield United were vying for a Champions League spot, or at the very least, they were vying for a Europa League spot, either of which would be huge for a club like Sheffield. Obviously, they've kind of jumped up the football pyramid in England, at a rapid rate. They've been doing incredibly well in their first season in the Premier League. I'm not sure if it's just for a long time, but regardless, they've done incredibly well to get to where they are. And they could have finished in the Europa League, in the Champions League, their first season back up. Now, that's big for a couple reasons. A, it's big because you're getting extra money for either of those competitions. But B, and especially in the Champions League, it is so much easier to attract a multitude of top quality players if you are playing in European competition. And that goes for the Champions League and the Europa League, but especially the Champions League. So imagine if Sheffield United were to finish, 1-2 points off, depending on goal difference, and they missed out on the Champions League because of that, that goal that didn't go in. That could potentially change the entire history of a club. They could just shrink back into mid-table obscurity here, or they could even, eventually drop down and get relegated, all because of this one blatant decision that wasn't given. Now, that is why I think results should be changed. Now, in the same sense as how VAR is only used in a clear and obvious refereeing error, I think it should have to be extremely obvious. I don't know how they would do it, potentially with a panel of referees or something like that that can look at it after the game and say all right, this is extremely obvious. There is no way this is not the correct decision. We have to change that and, change the result of the match. Now, this could be done realistically, for some things, but goal line technology, this is really the first time that's kind of messed up, but that is at the very least one instance where it could be used, but there are other instances. So, say, red cards is another one. So say something happens in the match and nobody sees it, so there is no VAR check. But then later you look at, or even the millions of people watching it who are going to see it, because with millions of people you're going to see everywhere in the pitch. They see some player just headbutt someone, and that player doesn't make any some sort of complaints or whatever because he's a tough guy. He doesn't want to stop the game. Maybe his team's on an attack or something. So then you've missed a red card. That's another thing where post-match you can be all right, you can't send him off. The match has already happened, but you can give him a through-match ban that you would get for receiving a direct red card. So that's another thing that could be changed, post-match. I'm sure there's other things, but I think even just potentially having a panel of, say, 10 professional referees, professional experienced referees, just have a look at it and be like, all right, yeah, we need to change this. It's obvious that this should have been done in the game. We missed it, whatever. So that's my second thing to improve VAR. But anyways, back to what's wrong with VAR. And like I was mentioning, VAR is very young. There's still time for improvement. So before if you are anti-VAR, before you say, like, we just need to get rid of it, it's ruining football, we need to get rid of it, just think, like, it's still very young. There still could be changes that could drastically change how you feel on it. It doesn't need to go, it doesn't need to die straight away. It's, I was going to say something. It would have been potentially, never mind. So anyways, what is bad about VAR? The main complaint that I hear is that it's just, it's kind of, it's hard to, like, describe what people are complaining about, but essentially it's not traditional. It's kind of, it's technology decising whatever football. You guys know what I mean. It's, it's bastardizing the idea of football. The tough players throwing in tackles, just whatever. It kills the flow of the game at times. Some people want to just, like, play whatever. The referee's there for a reason. There's 3 of them. That's their job. But yeah, I get that. But again, if it is making the correct decisions or making more correct decisions, then it is worth it, in my opinion. I think that's just, that's just how I feel about it. I really should put that away. So anyways, substitution time, I guess. So I do sort of get that argument, but it's kind of bound to happen with technology being the way it is. It was bound to happen regardless, and I think it's a welcome change. Actually, let's get Hazard in here. My Real Madrid boy, he's been very, very good since coming back from the winter break. Probably lost a couple pounds. He was a little chunky coming to Real Madrid, not gonna lie, but he's been fantastic. I forgot what I was thinking about, what I was talking about. I think I got past the whatever. Let's get to the next problem. I do want to finish this probably in 2 games at the most. I've been a little bit distracted from the gameplay, but not too bad, I would say. Not bad for my first time really doing this sort of thing. If I do say so myself. Come on, like that, Pogba. Fuck's sake. It was pretty though. Anyways, what else do people not like about VAR? So the other main thing that I see is it takes too long. And I kind of address this in how to improve VAR, but yeah, it is one of the main counterpoints. It takes too long. It kills the flow of the game. Yeah, I get that, but again, I feel like even if it takes 2 minutes to do a decision, if it is a game-impacting decision that has been made and it's correct, it was worth the time. Come on, Neymar. Oh, what a goal. Let's go. That was pretty. Wasn't great defending, but it was still pretty. So yeah, that again, I can see that point is valid, but I feel like it's worth it. It's a give and take. I would rather have the correct decision. Even if, like I said earlier, if it adds 20 minutes to a game, but you get the correct decision, I think it's worth it. But again, there are things that they could do to speed it up. A couple that I've mentioned. I'm sure there's some that I haven't thought of that you could improve that. But the next thing that I hear people complain about. Now, this one I'm not as big of. I don't have any first-hand experience with. Oh, Jesus. Okay, well, that's FIFA for you. I so clearly was trying to go the Why would I try to pass to anyone else that wasn't that player to my left? Like, just fuck FIFA, man. FIFA pisses me off sometimes. But anyways, the next issue that I don't have much experience with, because there's not a lot of stadiums near me, MLS. I am an American. Closest team to me is Columbus Crew, about 2 hours away, so I don't see much of their games. Plus, it's been a while. Regardless, since the MLS has happened, not quite back yet because of the COVID. But in stadium, how VAR works. Now it varies stadium to stadium. Certain stadiums do different things. Like I think they a lot of stadiums just put up like being VAR reviewed or something like that, and that's it. so the fans are just sit there left, for potentially 2, 3, 4 minutes. And in this case, yeah, it is worse kind of a wait. You have no idea what's happening. You don't know what they're checking, and then a couple minutes later, your team could concede a penalty because of something that you didn't see, and you're not quite clear on what's happened. And yeah, I get that as well. That's a valid point, but that is so easily fixable, and I feel like the way to do it. This could have fallen into either section, I guess, my problems with VAR or how to fix VAR. But I think the very simple way to fix this is you just put the commentators on speakers. I imagine any stadium that has the ability to use VAR, which is most stadiums at this point for big leagues, I imagine those stadiums have the capability to have speakers, across the stadium that's clear. Most stadiums have them anyways for, announcers and shit, like, whatever. Have the commentators, the TV commentators or whatever, just explain what's happening. So, like, Ray Hudson and, again, Phil Shane, I think it is, I forget his name. Ray Hudson is the main one that I can remember. I don't remember a lot of commentators' names, but those two, for example, they've commentated most Real Madrid games. Anytime there's a VAR check, they're speculating about what's happening, and you see the replays, and they're like, all right, they're looking at this, they've decided this, that's what's happening, and it's much more clear, when you're watching on TV, what is happening. So if you just make that commentary available in the stadium, so that everyone in the stadium just knows what's going on, and even to help the players know what's going on, the manager, the substitutes, whatever. It just gets rid of so much confusion and makes things much more clear. I think it would make for a much better experience in the stadium, and I think that would just straight up solve that issue. So there's lots of things they could do to fix VAR. There's lots of things that they could get rid of. Lots of things they can add, but make sure you guys let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions on how to fix VAR, or whether you're pro VAR, anti VAR. Just let me know sort of how you guys feel about it. If you're anti VAR, let me know why. If you're pro VAR, let me know why. I'd like to have a discussion down there, and also let me know if you want to see more videos like this, whether it's on FIFA or somewhere else. I don't really care, but if you guys want to see more sort of podcast or sort of discussion type videos, just leave it down in the comments. But that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next time.